Welcome to a look into the future. What would you do if you can go into the future and start asking yourself questions? How do you grow your firm? How do you transition to advisory services and more? Luckily, we don't need no flux capacitor. We can just ask the time traveler himself, Paul Latham, and learn the knowledge we need our firms today to evolve into advisory services and become the most relevant advisor to our clients. That's what it's all about. Now, Paul brings three amazing things with him. And if you've seen them before, you know what they are. But I'm going to refresh you on it if you haven't. Number one, he's built a successful accounting practice in the UK. So he understands us accountants. He is one of us. He built his firm into an advisory powerhouse, which sold for $45 million in 2001. Number two, he's taken a business public, built into an impressive market value in excess of $400 million. So he really understands what business owners need and value and what we as accountants need to provide to them. And finally, as I said, number three, we don't need to invent time travel. We just get to ask Paul and learn from the transition he made 20 years ago in the UK into providing business advisory services. That's what it's all about. How do we take the mystery out of what business advisory services are in the US marketplace today? If you don't know, I'm Garrett Wagner, your entrepreneurial CPA channel host. And I'm excited as always to be joined by Paul Latham of Hayden Rock Solutions. Paul, I know I always enjoy our chats together, the time we spent together talking. And we just wrapped up an amazing 6-part series on the ways to provide business advice. Take that mystery out of advisory services. And as we chat between these sessions, as we both, use the Hayden Rock process and system, I know what comes next. Kind of once you get through those 6 key ways, that big next step, I know what it is. Why don't you share with everybody what comes next?
Yep. Hi Gareth. Good to see you again today. And as you say, we've gone through those 6 key areas. And basically, I would always cover those in what I call a proactive vision workshop. Do it all together. You can do them individually. But at the end of that session, if I've covered those 6 key areas, then I move into something I call the 4 key business owner questions. I'm just going to bring my screen up just as usual. Hopefully you can see that. So just a little bit of preamble for those who may not have seen before. Back in episode 29, introduced the concept of the 6 key aspects of business advice. As I've said several times, I think they represent at least 80% of anything you need to know about providing general business advice. Just to refresh ourselves, those 6 key aspects, almost like individual boxes of advisory product. Episode 30, key area 1, are we going to add value or be more efficient or separate the two? Episode 31 and 32, we covered key area number 2, the 4 ways to grow a business that segues into value proposition. Episode 33, key area 3, the 7 wastes. Episode 34, key area number 4, tangible or intangible delivery. Episode 35, key area 5, what you can measure, you can manage, KPIs and so on. And then episode 36, key area 6, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So Gareth, as you then say, what comes next? And if we've dealt with those all together, basically what that allows you to eventually answer is what I call the 4 key business owner questions. And it's sort of almost like a test. Have we covered everything completely enough to be able to really be clear on what the strategy is going forward? And very simply, those 4 key business owner questions are why, what, how, and did we? And so starting with the why are we in business? And it's all really to do with our purpose, or perhaps some people use the word mission. What's our purpose? What's our mission? And why are we in business? And there's really 2 aspects of looking at that. There's one from the team point of view. Why are we in business, and is this an exciting place for the team to work? And so they can answer the question, why does my job matter? And then secondly, looking at the purpose from the point of view of the relevance to the customer. Is your business purpose relevant to the customer? And so they can answer the question, why should I choose to use this business? And that's a pretty fundamental area, why, and we're actually going to deal with that in a bit more detail in the next episode. Secondly, what value are we creating for customers? Basically, a business that doesn't create value for customers may as well close the doors today. So what value are we creating for customers? And ultimately, what is the reason that they choose to use us? And that's the whole value proposition. And we covered this in previous episodes in the six key aspects of business advice. What's the value proposition? What is it customers value? Let's make sure that we're accentuating the value and not what they expect. Thirdly, how are we going to deliver value to customers? And again, we covered this within the 6 key areas of business advice. Are we going to focus on delivering value through tangible delivery methods, basically the 20th century model, more buildings, more machines, more employees, and so on? Or are we going to deliver through the intangible delivery, which tends to be the 21st century model, the accent being on virtual, technology, collaboration, brand, data, knowledge, relationships, and so on. And then finally, did we succeed? And we need to look at that from 2 perspectives again. Ultimately, the customer. Is the customer delighted? Have we delivered on our promises? And basically those promises are in the why and the what. Why are we in business? What value are we going to deliver? And then I suppose fundamentally for a business owner, did we succeed from our perspective? And usually that means making a profit. And obviously what we're really then leading to is measurement. What you can measure, you can manage, 4 ways to grow a business, and so on. And so hopefully what you can see there is, although those 6 key areas or 6 key aspects of business advice you can look at individually, taken together, everything we've done in those 6 key aspects should allow us to eventually be able to answer those 4 key business owner questions: why, what, how, and did we? And the bottom line is, if you can't answer those 4 key business owner questions, then you're going to have to keep on working on it and go back and do it again. Spend some more time, because that's what you're trying to get to. That's the end game. Can we answer those 4 questions? Does that make sense, Garrett?
Yeah, Paul, it sounds like too, it comes back to on our side, can we add value to that client relationship? Can we add value to this business advisory service we do that's not tied to a deliverable like a tax return?
Yeah, and the thing is, you see, I think it's easy to go down rabbit holes with business advisory. And, the way I try and do it is to try and make it simple. And so, we can look at those individual boxes, but ultimately it has to come back to what I call a sort of jigsaw that creates a picture that makes some sense. So we've looked at those 6 key areas. We've got the individual pictures, pull it all together. Can we answer those questions? Oh, keep it simple for business owners. Business owners, in fact, they'll say to me sometimes, what do I have to do? And I always say, you've got to be able to answer the 4 key questions. You've got to be able to say, why are you in business? What value do you bring? How are you going to deliver it? And did we succeed? And if you can answer those, you're good. And if you can't, keep on working till you can.
And then, Paul, let me ask you too, for those 4 key questions, is it a logical order? Like it's got to start at number 1. If you can't answer 1, you can't pass
No, I think what tends to happen is it can be that any one of those, I tend to go through them in that order because it sort of rolls off my tongue that way. Why, what, how, did we? But you could easily find you could do them in any order you like. I think did we is logically last, because it's only after you've been working with a customer and or working for a while can you answer the question, did we? Did we by its sort of nature is a after the event almost question. But certainly why is probably the first question. I mean, we're going to cover this in the next episode, actually. It's the one I call the meaning of life question. If we can't answer the question why we're in business from a team point of view or from our own point of view or from a customer point of view, then you have to question why are we in business.
And with Paul, that I think we'll wrap it up. But yeah, we all got to know, whether we're a firm or one of our clients, why are we in business? What are we doing? And yeah, answer these questions. Focus on how to be that, as you talk about, that relevant advisor to your client, which means asking them questions and helping them be successful. So Paul, as always, I enjoy asking these questions, hearing from you, kind of looking to the future. So for everybody watching, stay tuned as we continue to go through this. And as always, we'd like to ask you, do you think you're ready for the future? Do you think you know where you stand today? Is your firm ready for the shift into becoming the most relevant advisor? Take a minute and sign up for your own free biz survey and get an objective assessment of how prepared your firm is today for the future. As a special offer for watching this show, we'll provide you the results of your biz score and a quick follow-up meeting. There's a link below. I encourage everybody watching, take the test and see where you stand. And don't forget, click right up here, subscribe to the YouTube channel, stay up to date. And as always, we challenge you today to take action to change the world and invest in yourself.